Well, my final question, which actually really links into what we've just said, is how do we start connecting to the breath? So we've noticed that, we're talking faster, and there's tension in the body. We might be snapping at somebody, and then we notice, we perhaps can't climb the stairs or something like that. So we've noticed that we're not breathing. How do we start connecting to the breath?
You're already doing it with your 1 minute a day. That's all you need to do. At the basic, you can go on all kinds. You can learn at you can go into it very depth. If you're just looking for that moment of connection, a minute a day is going to give it to you. Because how many of us actually take a minute a day to focus on the breath? It's not something that we tend to do unless we're ill. And if you're coughing all day long, you're very aware of your breath. But most of the time, we don't do it. So just finding those times in the day where you can stop and connect to your breath, I recommend, it's a brilliant thing that worked really well for me, was if you drive, particularly if you do the 9 to 5 commute, perhaps, or do the school run, or anytime you stop at a red light,
breathe.
Focus on your breath. When you're in a queue in the supermarket, any of these times, you do it in the beginning of the day, you can do it at the end of the day, and they are brilliant because that sets you up for the day really well, or it helps you relax at the end of the day. But also you can use it at these times when you might get irritated with the world. So stuck in traffic is a fantastic time. I've done it when I go to networking events every now and then in the morning, and because I only do it very rarely, I always forget that there'll be about 60,000 million people on the roads at the time, and I'm going to. So I leave assuming the A470 is going to be empty, and then it's really not. So the last time I went to a networking event, I got on, as soon as I hit the road and there was all this traffic, I just thought, right, okay, breathe. And so the whole way there, I was in this traffic jam for about 25 minutes, I think, and I was just focusing on my breath the whole time. So by the time I got there, I was late, and I was really calm, because you're going to be in that traffic, so you're either going to be about it and grumpy and irritable because you're going to be late, or you can be calm. So finding these times, when you're washing the dishes, you make it much more of a
mindful
exercise. If you focus on your breath while you're washing your dishes, then something as mundane as washing the dishes can actually become a really special moment. So
I like that.
Whatever works for you. Also, if you use something like the Pomodoro Timer, a Pomodoro approach to time management throughout the day, that's a great one, because you're scheduling little breaks for yourself all day long. Take a breath break. I love the idea of a breath break.
That sounds great.
See,
I've got a picture. I mean, I don't live in the UK anymore, so I don't, but I remember the queues and things in Sainsbury's, and I just have this vision when you were saying about standing in the supermarket queue of just going, do you know what? Leave me alone, and move a bit further forward, pushing your trolley with your tummy. So yeah, I have that great picture in my. So that will remind me. I mean, I drive down the mountain to go wherever I'm going. I might have a traffic jam of goats. That's really about it, And I just stop the car, I wind down the window. I usually get my phone out to take a picture. Why I'm taking a picture of goats, I don't know.
Because there's a traffic jam of goats in my window.
I know. So I don't have those kind of stresses anymore.
No.
But actually, when every time I take the dogs for a walk, coming back to, when you're doing something, I'll stop. I'm pointing at the hills, you can't see, but I will stop while they're running around and just breathe.
And that's beautiful to do it when you're out in nature. I mean, talking about moments that take your breath away, and that's what nature does, isn't it?
It does.
Be in the same place every day, and it can still take away its beauty. And if you stop then, and maybe there's a tree that you love, or a particular viewpoint that you love, stop there. That will, it makes it sparkle. Whatever the weather, it'll make that beautiful place sparkle.
But you notice stuff. It's like, we don't get very much rain, but when it rains, all these little tiny flowers appear, and all of a sudden it's no longer barren, it's green. And there's, at one time of the year there's poppies for as far as you can see. But there's also, I notice some mornings, I walk into the Rambler and there's a smell. It's a different smell. There's an energy. Everything, like you say, everything it looks different, it feels different, it sounds different. There might be birds. It's just wonderful. And I do believe that even if you live in a smoggy, traffic-filled city, you can still find those moments that take your breath away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah. Because the cities have got some of the best parks.
Yeah.
London's got some beautiful parks. Cardiff, and you can always find these lovely little green spots.
Oh, yes.
Trees to shelter you from the air pollution a little, and breathing. And even though, air pollution is a problem, but you're still going to do better.
Yes.
From breathing better.
Yeah.
In no matter where it is, because you're still giving yourself that calm, that stillness inside of you, no matter what goes on outside.
I mean, it's a shame, I remember when I lived in Wales, if I wanted to go to Wentwood Forest, I'd have to drive the car there. And you just think, what a shame that you've got to pollute all of that journey. Yes. But then when you get there, you're almost breathing with the forest.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that dense, dark, inside the trees. And I used to imagine that there was all the old battles would be going on, and you're breathing with like the memories of, I know I'm going completely off tangent, but breathing with the memories of times gone past, and your imagination is being fired up, and there's the wind, and it's just absolutely incredible. And I think everybody, if you can't walk to somewhere, maybe even just throw open a window and look up, and extend your listening beyond the traffic. You can find those beautiful moments that can take your breath away. They can. Oh, I'm in a lovely place now.
One of the first moments that I didn't realize what was going on at the time, but one of the first moments I connected to my breath and had that sense of mind, body and spirit connection was by the sea. I wrote a blog post about it last week. I don't know if you saw that, but when I was on holiday with my middle son's father, and we'd had this ferocious argument. Oh, no. Pregnant at the time, and I walked past the pub, couldn't go in the pub because I couldn't drink, and so I walked past the pub, and when I sat by the side of the sea, and the tide was in, so the sea was just going whoosh, whoosh. And I sat there, I don't know how long I was there for, but I sat there and I calmed down completely, and I got to this point of none of this matters, because that sea is going to just keep doing that, and it doesn't matter, and just calm me down. And I've sort of reflected on that, and through my journaling, I realized that actually probably what happened was synchronized with the wind. And I was breathing with the tide, and so my breathing slowed down, and I had that really profound mind, body, spirit connection where I stopped being an angry woman and became part of the sea. And it was just beautiful. And I want to stayed with me for such a long time. I mean, he's 22 now, the child that was in my
child.
And that moment has stayed with me. And when I was doing my teacher training, that he came back to me, and I thought, oh my God, that was incredible. So that when I was doing my journaling as part of your thing about the breath, and I wrote somewhere, my breath has been at my side, keeping me alive, but helping me along the path. It's like that have gone right the way through my life, and I've not noticed them at the time, but it's like that. I think you connect looking back.
Yeah.
It's been there. It's this beautiful thread throughout my life.